Well, today we're going to take this crappy built-in desk and turn it into something decidedly less crappy. The Wood Whisperer is sponsored by Woodcraft. Just get started. This is the desk that Nicole uses when she works from home, and unfortunately, it's falling apart. When I inspect this thing closely, I'm amazed at how they were able to build something that looks and operates as furniture, but is really just a facade over a 2x4 structure. Obviously, this one wasn't built very well, and this construction method is completely foreign to me, but I still think it's super cool and a great way to use minimal material if you can pull it off. So here's the plan. Because the carpet is already cut around this thing, the new desk will feature two similar cabinets on each side. I'll take some measurements of the current case as well as the general opening, and I'll also make myself a nice template for the desktop. This space isn't square and the walls definitely aren't flat, so this template should allow me to make a perfect drop-in top. Hopefully. Before I can start building anything, I'm going to get this information into SketchUp. This allows me to evaluate the alcove dimensions and see how my cabinets are going to live in that space. It also helps me plan out the face frames, which is where the real magic happens for giving this thing a flawless looking fit. The desk will be made from walnut, and most of the structure will be walnut plywood. Now, if you haven't purchased walnut plywood in a while, be prepared to take out a second mortgage. This stuff is crazy expensive, and it's got me wondering why we can't just build this thing out of cherry. But Nicole wants walnut, so she gets walnut. Casework like this can be built with any number of methods, from classic rabbets to pocket screws, but what I'm doing here requires a little bit of explanation because a dowel jig isn't usually going to be someone's first choice for case joinery. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly strong and accurate, but it's also quite tedious. The reason I'm doing it is because I've had a lot of people asking me about domino alternatives, and obviously a good quality dowel jig, like this Jessam model, is one such example. So I honestly just wanted to have the personal, real-world experience of living in this dowel ecosystem for the duration of a full plywood project, just to see what it's like. And that way, when I get questions about it, I could speak from personal experience. And judging from the current state of YouTube tool reviews, that's something that's in short supply. All that said, once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad, and the case comes together pretty easily. Now I can mill up some stock for the face frame parts. At the top, I just need a thin strip to cover the plywood edge as there's no face frame up there. It's a long story, but to get the look that I'm after within the space we have to work with, we just don't have room for a top face frame rail. The rest of the face frame just gets glued into place. Jeez. I'm making a big mess. Now, I'm still on a hide glue kick lately. This type on hide glue is pretty great stuff. It's shelf stable, gives me a long working time, cleans up with water, and doesn't cause as much in the way of finishing issues with staining. Now, because we need to scribe the face frame style that touches the wall, those are left oversized and unattached for the moment. The drawers for this piece will be made from cherry. Now, I keep hearing that cherry is out of style these days, and the price seems to reflect that. I mean, cherry is one of my absolute favorite woods, so whoever makes these decisions, please keep doing that. Just means more cherry for me. So we're making a total of 5 drawers here, 2 of which are deep file cabinet drawers. I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details here because it's a lot to cover. And if you're into the details and you want some more information, I would love it if you could check out my Demystifying Built-ins course. What you're watching now is a condensed version of a much longer 7.5-hour presentation that covers every detail, including measuring, planning, constructing, and installing this beautiful built-in desk. And you could save 20% for a limited time using the code builtin20. So anyway, with the slides installed and a test fit done, we can now move on to the drawer fronts and the door.
Heck yes.
The frames are made from solid walnut and will employ some basic tongue and groove joinery. But the panels, well, that requires some explanation. I know I don't have a reputation for being the most frugal woodworker out there.
Hey.
What can I say? I like pretty things. But when it comes to these drawer fronts, I refuse to buy the 1/2-inch plywood that I need for the panels. So I'm making the 3/4-inch plywood work by planing it down to a 1/2 inch. It's ugly, it's ill-advised, but that ugly face is going to go against the drawer body and will never be seen, so what's the harm? Even if these pieces warp a little bit, the frame and the drawer itself will help keep it flat. So I'm not going to say this is a good idea, but it worked. Now I can move on to the hinge mortises for the door. When you see the final installation, you might wonder why the door swings to the inside, and it all comes down to stacking the cards in my favor. Swinging to the outside would require me mortising into a style that's currently unattached and oversized because it hasn't been scribed to the wall yet. So I made a safer choice to install the hinges on the side that's already in a fixed position. Of course, the door is going to need some kind of stop, so I make one from a piece of walnut and a couple of small magnets. Inside the case, we'll have an adjustable shelf, so now's a good time to drill for that. And to attach the drawer fronts, I'll use a little glue, clamps, and screws. By the way, spacers are the key to everything here. If you want nice, consistent, even gaps, use spacers. Alright, so these things are ready for finish. I'm using Natural One Coat, which does a very nice job of bringing that walnut to life. Obviously, the sides that face the walls don't really need any finish. And time for the hardware. Nothing too fancy, just some oil rub bronze business from Lowe's.
Very nice.
The project actually took a few months in real time just due to life, but while the cabinets were coming together in the shop, I tackled the demo at home in the evenings. Now when I say demo, I don't mean sledgehammer, Kool-Aid man busting through the wall kind of demo. I'm pretty methodical about it. This alcove is in my basement, and my family uses this area daily, so I'd like to keep the dust and debris to a minimum. The desk itself was pretty easy to remove, but it was at this point that Nicole threw me a curveball and asked if we could build some upper bookshelves too. And while I like the arch top that's in this alcove, removing it would allow us to have a lot more space for her growing collection of name tags and hairnets. So, more demo.
Hand is not a hammer.
Now, I'm not here to teach drywall, and you wouldn't want to learn it from me anyway, but suffice it to say that I reshaped the opening, moved the light, and now I have the space that I need to do what she wants. So once the demo and reconstruction was complete, I was able to load up the lower cabinets and bring them home. Part of my construction strategy was to leave the inside panel of each cabinet just slightly oversized so that I could scribe it to the back wall. This area is going to be in a dark shadow, so if it's not dead on perfect, I doubt anyone's going to notice. Now I can level the cabinets and space them out so I can start scribing my face frames.
Okay, thanks, pal.
Back at the shop, I'll make the cuts and then return to the house to do the installation.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Oh, and throughout this build, you have likely noticed the pink fingernail. This is not any kind of statement or anything. I just had a nasty bruise there from getting my finger caught against the side of a screw, of all things, and my daughter decided she didn't like the way it looked, so she painted over it with pink nail polish. And as you can see, it's much less conspicuous now. So next, I shim out the cabinets and screw them to the walls so they can't move. Back at the shop, I'll begin working on the desktop. Now because this thing will be locked in place and I don't want any kind of wood movement to be a factor, I'm using plywood with some solid wood to trim out the front edge. And here's where that template I made is going to really come in handy. I can actually use it as a routing template. So no measuring, no cutting to a line. The shape is what the shape is, and if I did my job right, it'll fit. Of course, the top gets a little bit of finish before it comes home.
I'm in your shot. Sorry.
I know I may sound confident in this voiceover, but in reality, this is a very tense moment for me. I made the template a few months prior to the moment in this video, so I'm really putting a lot of faith in my previous work.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
But when that thing just fell down into place with no gaps and no drywall damage, I was doing a little happy dance in my head. Now we've got a center drawer to construct. This is going to use the same kind of undermount slides as the other drawers, and those slides need something to attach to, so we need to build a framework that I can secure to the underside of the desktop, and then our drawer will live inside that. It's sort of a box within a box within a box situation. I'll be honest though, this might have been the trickiest part of the whole installation. If the setback or the overall position of this thing is off, the middle drawer just won't look right, and it'll kill the clean look that I'm going for. But I got it in the end. And this is where the extra work to make those continuous grain drawer fronts really pays off. This is exactly what I was hoping it would look like. But no time to celebrate. We've got a whole upper bookcase monstrosity to build. Again, the full course goes into all of these details, but for the purposes of this video, let's kick back, throw on some sweet jazz, and watch it come together. Now, to make transport as simple as possible, I decided not to glue the middle shelves in place until we were in the basement. Even then, this thing is pretty fragile, so I enlisted the help of my buddy Jason just to lift it in place. From there, I can scribe the styles. And you'll have to forgive me for wearing my pajamas. I'm working from home, baby! With the styles installed, I can now add the other parts of the face frame to finish this thing off. And finally, the crown molding. This was the only piece that they had at my lumber dealer, and it's pretty bowed, but I'm forcing it into place with a generous helping of 18 gauge persuasion.
Okay.
And there it is. Time to present it to the missus.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Ah! Oh, that looks so good.
Oh my god, that white thing was there. Dougie agrees. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. Holy moly.
You can load it up with your books now.
Uh-huh. I go get.
And of course, she immediately loads it down with her Stephen King book collection.
Oh. And then in here is where I'm gonna put the Dark Tower.
Just another reminder that if you want to see every detail of this build and get a lot more insight into the process of making a built-in like this, check out my course, Demystifying Built-ins, over at thewoodwhispererguild.com and save 20% using the code BUILTIN20. Your support really means a lot to me. And special thanks to our sponsor, Woodcraft. Check them out at woodcraft.com. Aha! Out of flat by that much? I had to fart. What are you gonna do? And the mailman's there. Always helps if you spit on it. Wait, don't take that the wrong way. I don't know what that was. All right. Ooh. I got no head with my head. Okay. I only have half a head. Why so high, man? If I can find my Daryl. Where's my Daryl?
This my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
And like I mentioned, the tear out on the inside. Hey, dust collector, I'm talking to you. Right. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
What the hell am I talking about? What did I mean by that, Todd? I don't even know.
Excuse me. Oop, hold on. Well, fiddlesticks. Oopsie. Is that a good spot, Oreo? Is that a good spot? Yes. What do you want, Oreo?
What do you want? You silly, silly boy.
He's posing. He's a posing boy. Oreo's love will not be denied. Oh, you handsome devil. You handsome devil. Man, listen to the purr chamber. Cool, 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 cool.
Ooh, look at him. He's such a cutie. Ooh. Huh? Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No biting. Yeah, get it. Get it. Get that plywood. Get it.
He's really working on that paw. Tastes good. And this one, Todd, this one's just for you.